Hello everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Today I am going to show you a detailed lessons to be learned for using Fibonacci retracement levels for price target levels. And I'm going to show you how you can do this. I'm not going to show you any code here. I'm just going to show you some of the logic, and a lot of this is built around Python, so it's really more geared towards advanced Python developers. So any newbies out there, be forewarned before you start saying, well, you weren't warned. First things first is these ideas come from a page on Facebook called Nictrades. So if you do a search for Nictrades, when we can find it would be nice. Anyways, that's how you spell it, Nictrades. So if I go into my Google here, let's see if we can find it this way. Wow. Okay, so this is Nictrades here, and you can also find Twitter handle, as well as Instagram and YouTube and whatever else. So there's lots of stuff here, and she runs a live webinar or stream on Facebook every Monday night starting 4 p.m. New York time or 9 p.m. London time. So she really focuses on cryptocurrencies. Okay, so that's where these ideas come from. So let me show you what we're referring to here in my terminal. If you go into my, well, I'll show you a couple scenarios. Now this is built off of my harmonics patterns, so this is proving to be very important. I've not been able to find any source code to help, give you any links or sources for it. But first thing is, I want to show you, this is a random price line. And what we're showing here is the swings and moves of pricing action. So here we have a maximum, a minima, a maxima, and another maxima. But the thing is, I want to show you is the sensitivity, or the least sensitive, is this 10. And I can throttle this anywhere between 1 and 10. This is from a SciPy package that you can get in Python, and then you can get the opposite end of it as well, which is pretty sensitive for the amount of minimum and maximum. So you can obviously pretty well point out where all the minimum and maximums are, and this here is really useful for when you'll see, hopefully in a few days or in a week in some of the future videos, you'll see here when I draw out these trend lines that make up wedges and pennants or flags, that these points are going to be very useful, especially these ones that are more sensitive, because we're going to be looking for points that will be touching particular lines, be it a trend line or a Fibonacci level. And there's a variety of things that we need to understand about this. Is that in the world of technical analysis, it's not pure science. It only works off of price, and you've probably heard me poo-poo it in the past. What we're doing here is we're just using technicals, very simple indicators, and there's really only 3, maybe 4, and they're all the same ones I've shown in the past. But in my case, I'll be showing you the Fibonacci in a minute for a different purpose. So if you have a trend line, you can now track how many times it will touch that trend over a certain period. And that can be used for instance, if you have an impulse wave where it'll touch it 5 times, or maybe on a pull down from that impulse wave where it's 3 times, then you may have a breakout on the 3rd touch or the 3rd breach. And I'm going to talk about that more in detail, but these type of points here are going to be very useful to attract that. So you can see here, in this case, we could have let's say this is a trend line along this stretch, we can go 1, 2, 3, and then we know that the price may break, as you can see here. So traditionally everything's in threes, and that's for the corrective actions. So the other mid-range is, well, just that, the mid-range between 1 and 10. It's not as sensitive or as extreme as the other one, as I was showing you here. You can see here the difference between the 5. It's not as sensitive. It's halfway between the 1 and the 10. So even if I pull up the 10, you'll see the radical difference with, here's the 5 and the 10. And then, as I said, you even have the more sensitive between the 5 and the 1. So sort of important to understand that we have full capabilities of being able to track the maximum and minimum of the sensitivity of that by how close you want to measure the minimum and maximum, or the extreme moves in the market on terms of market reversals or pivot points. Okay, so that's fine. So the next step is to understand Fibonacci levels. So in here I have a bunch of charts, different scenarios, and the first one is, this would be a typical Fibonacci level that you've seen from me in the past, but the difference is we have a new 50 or a 0.5 Fibonacci level. Traditionally I had the 0.382, the 618, the 786, and the 236. So this is a actual price line from a crypto pair on Binance over a period of time, but whatever, we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss the Fibonacci. So as usual, between the 0.382 and the 0.618, that's our traditional golden zone, and I've used it for valuation in terms of historical. So here we've got over 1,000 data points. So you can see here at the bottom, I've got the exact pricing, what you could expect if this price was to hit 0.236, and these are the levels of that you can expect if it was to hit these Fibonacci levels of 0.236. You could expect the price to be at 205. Level of 3.82 could be at 1742 here, and then looking at the other levels as well, we got 1.4.5, we have 1486, level 618, 1229, and 786 at 86452. So these are the different pricing levels that you can use, and you can also turn around and use these for setting targets. If the price hits a certain level, we can do something. So for instance here, if the price was to come down to 0.5, we can then switch this price and switch out new and support and resistant lines. So when we put on an entry, you can use those for an exit, or we can also use those as a potential entry as well. So that is all periods of data. So here I've got a few more. And I'm going to show you this one. It's called widest. So basically what that is open widest. What that basically means is, here we are again, I'm going to just blow this up, is that it's 180 days that we're measuring. Now always remember that crypto is never closes. So it's operational 365 days a year, which means 180 days is roughly 6 months. So what I've done is now I've been able to draw a new set of Fibonacci retracement levels and be able to determine what's going on from this point, finding the maximum and minimum. So it could be from this point to this point, and then from here to here we draw out our Fibonacci levels, and that could be one way of doing it, as well as another way is let me just show you the last 180. So again, for 6 months, we now have a new set of retracement of trying to figure out a new set of Fibonacci levels here, even though it's kind of bunched up. We have the detail that we want to set our price target levels at these levels, as I explained before, but this is the sort of a visual representation. So once again, we can draw out a new set of Fibonacci levels based upon the last 180 days, or sorry, not the last, but the very last point of the price. So that means that we can historically generate new Fibonacci lines from the last point. And then, as I said, with the other one for the widest, is these are the widest points over the last 180 days for the maximum, from the lowest to the highest point on this data run, and it's got to be that swing. So here, roughly 50%, might be actually calculating it here by the look of it, might not be here, but it can classify this and this as a run, and it may classify this as a Fibonacci level. So if it did that, it'd be from here to here, and 50% of that move would be this line right here, and then the other ones would be potentially from here to here. So I'm probably going to need to fix that just to verify it. So there's that. Now the other thing I need to point out is this is the price line of a bar. This is not obviously sub-minute, meaning a tick. This is open, high, low, close, so it's an OHLC bar. So these measurements are actually measured from the lowest low of the bar and the highest high. Okay, so it's not using the open or close to measure that, it's using the high and low of these points, just so you know. Okay, so there's that, and let me show the 90-day. So if I look at the Fibonacci for the last 90 days, these are pretty well the same as before. I'll show you why. Let me pull up the equivalent in the last 180 days. Okay, if you look at both the Fibonacci levels, they're pretty well identical. So the 236 is 0.00, sorry, 121. Actually, they're different. Well, what do you know? So they are different, and the Fibonacci is generated, and the 90 is again this last point. Okay, that's one scenario to do a retracement of Fibonacci. Another one is the widest for the last 90 days. Let me just see if I have that. Widest 90 day, hopefully, yes we do. So again, these are the levels of the most extreme move. Probably, I'm guessing from here to here, but I'm going to put 2 dots here just to verify that. And then here's the 50% move, and then we have now a new set of Fibonacci rules, or sorry, Fibonacci retracement levels for that minimum and maximum level. So then we can determine pricing entries or pricing support and resistance from these lines. So that's pretty well it. Just wanted to show you that, and let me know what you think, and we shall talk to you later. Hopefully this will be helpful down the line. Talk to you later. Hello everybody, second part to this video. Okay, so there was a comment I made regarding, let me just pull up one of the charts here, regarding trying to figure out at what point were these Fibonacci levels calculated. I tried various ways to plot this using Chart Director, adding zones and marks and circles, and it was kind of really ugly. So the only thing I really could do is right here using this new text I just added. So the fib range is from 0.0013051 to 2572, let's say. So that would be roughly at 13, I believe, from this line right here to roughly 257293. So where the pencil is right there. So that is the, from this point to here is the Fibonacci levels, because that's the most extreme or the widest range in the swings, and that looks pretty accurate. So when you factor in the halfway level, and remember there's also using the lows and the highs at this point, not the close for either of these points. It's using the open high, the high of that bar here and the low of this bar here, and then it's calculating that range and then calculating the Fibonacci in this range. So that's pretty well the best I could do to show the Fibonacci range. So let me see another one here. So let me just see what other PNGs. So I'll do the other one, widest 180. So that is from 1351, which is about here somewhere, to 25. So it'd be here. So I think it'd be somewhere in here. Now this kind of sucks having to do this. So this is probably the range we're looking at with a 50% move right here. Now it could be here as well. Could be that one as well, having the widest range and doing the Fibonacci. That would look about accurate. And then the 50% would be it, which technically that's where these dots are. So that's probably the range. Okay, so I'm not sure if this really helps you out in any way, but it's a little better than what I said in the previous segment. Over and out.